So if you're interested in making sure you find out whether a job is really expensive or maybe could be done for a lot less cost, stay tuned for this, everybody. Lots of examples like that, yeah. So welcome back, everybody. If you missed the first show, the first half hour recorded with Tim and I, just a good guy that understands the way the world works. And when you really get into the ins and outs of what we're all on this planet trying to find a way to survive, right? And hopefully you're working for a living and contributing, because that's going to make you happier. We know a lot of people these days, they went through a whole, I don't even like to bring up what it was. We all know what we're talking about, where there was like 3 years of like, you had to stay in your house, and people then got comfortable with, hey, I can just live in my mom's basement. You're not really enjoying life as such. You might find it easier to just sit there because the air conditioning is paid for, and you got an electrical bill you don't have to pay for, and your Nintendo, what do they use now? Xbox is functioning, but you're not really living.
Somebody has to pay for that.
Yeah, somebody's paying for it. That's right. But if you ever, this is what I talk about, where I was in a coma, like literally lucky to survive a horrible accident. A doctor came on our show, Cowboy and Judge show, a few years ago, and he says, you realize you're 1 out of 100 that recovers. So my point to everybody is anything's possible. Never give up. Don't listen to experts. In this case, it happened to be some doctors that were trying to be fair with their analysis that I would be a vegetable and they'd have to take care of the rest of my life. Wrong. My dad pulled me out of that office and said, we're not ever going to go back and talk to that psychiatrist again, that particular psychiatrist, all right? I would imagine most psychiatrists would take the high road to say, hey, encourage them. And we'll give you some brain teasers. Like literally there are tests you can take. There are, exercises, mental exercises. I gave Tim one when we started. I said, I'm still working on getting things set up here, a couple of things I'm dealing with, but here are all the questions we like to ask. Go ahead and review all these, right? It's a mental exercise. Such is true in life. You have to build your brain's strength with knowledge and exercise, because if you're forcing it to deal with things that otherwise most people go, oh, why would I deal with that? Well, now when there is a real challenge and you can't overcome because your brain was put in a position where it's just like, I don't have to deal with that. My mom's going to take care of it.
Brain's a muscle.
Brain is a muscle. That's what, yes. So dive in and make a difference and learn and really enjoy life. There's a lot to be enjoyed. I am very fortunate to have people around me that help me come through that. And now I've done things that most people, I tell people, like here's this book. I wrote the foreword. It's the #1 on Amazon, okay? They brought me in to write that because they know what my background is with how to magnetize your media. Makes sense? These are the kinds of things anybody can do if they're willing to put the effort in and go out there and do it. Would you agree with that, Tim?
Oh, yeah. If no effort, you're not going to get anything done.
And you put a little bit of effort in, then you learn a little bit. You get a little more. You learn more. You go, oh, I can do this. You build up your confidence, and all of a sudden, you can run a company.
Have to believe you can do it.
Have to believe. We talked about that for a good session. We've been sitting here for a while chit-chatting. We have schedules are always moving around, so I said we've got some extra time. Let's continue to chat a little bit here. But I want to dive in for the second half of the questions. Usually we get through the first 8. We got another 8 to go through. I do write my questions down because I like to stay organized. Thank you, Judy Rethwish, Mom. She's up there on the wall. Drama teacher, speech teacher, English teacher said you must write things down. You must be organized. So here we go. And we let off with this question. I sometimes get to it for the first show, but this case, saved it for the second show. What's the biggest mistake people make? They've got an issue at the house. The gutter's leaking, the pipe's leaking, something's clogged. You name the list of things that can go wrong in a house. What's the biggest mistake they make when they're trying to deal with this?
It's just calling the big flashy name, and they hear a price, and it's like, okay, and it's not necessarily your only choice.
That is so true. I can't imagine. You were telling me a story. I think we should dive into this. We're not naming names, everybody.
Right.
We're not going to name the particular company. You might know the name. It's not important.
Yeah.
But it might be important for the company that's doing it. Stop. It's not a good idea. It's not. Get it. You're trying to make money. But and this is often the case, especially for big national companies. They say, hey, do you want to sponsor my show? Come on here and prove to where this is not the way you do it. We'll emphasize that. But if you are a company doing this, then maybe you should change this, and then I'll talk to you about being on the show. But bottom line is hiring somebody who's just got 2 weeks of training or 1 week in a seminar or whatever. I've been to those. It was for technical stuff back in the day, and I had my technical background. But 1 week, and now they're salespeople. They're not really repair people.
Right.
They're salespeople. And they come out and they look at it. And you mentioned that there's a company you know of that literally they get their hourly rate, but they get a bonus for everything they sell beyond that as a percentage of what work they can generate to say, oh, yes, that pipe is clogged.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be best solution for you to just get all new plumbing. And they probably put it in a way that's worse than that to make it sound oh, you can't even do that. We have to replace it. And now they're going, oh, cha-ching, I got my commission. Is this for real?
Yeah. A case in point, a elderly woman, you know, somebody's grandma, has a clog in her basement, and tub's backing up. So they come out, and said company attempts to remove the clog, and it looks like they really did something because there's black water all over the bathroom. I mean, it looks pretty bad. And I said, well, we tried, and it's not going to come open, and we're saying that you have to have all new pipes from the basement all the way to the street. Going to be like $18,000. And this is a woman that, I mean, she's not rich or anything. And so fortunately she called a friend of mine who called me, and I said, hey, let me get you in touch with some people. And as it turned out, you just had to work a little harder at opening the clog.
Push the clog down a couple more times with the plunging tool, or
pull it out. Yeah.
They call those snakes, right? It's a metal thing that goes down, and it'll go through the pipes even when they bend, and it'll. Yeah. And your guys who do that work, like specifically, they have these. Check out our previous guest, my buddy Kevin, I believe, and he talks about it. They went and somebody came in and said, "Oh, we got to rip up the plumbing here. We got to tear out the floor. Yeah. It's going to be $25,000." And he went in for $350. Went. Now, do you have the device that does the drilling of that, or
I do.
You do that kind of handiwork too. So you're a handyman that covers wide gamut.
I tried to cover what I can cover.
Okay, but literally, like, it was just a matter of just loosening the whatever was clogged a little bit more.
It was a matter of
challenge,
doing a little extra.
Quote from first show, everybody: excellence is achieved by doing a little bit more. Just did a little extra. It fixed it. Probably the gook was stuck in there, and they just said, "Oh, hit it 3 times. Oh, no, we tried. Told you, you saw me. We tried. You saw me doing it. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, you see the stuff all over in the room.
Yeah. Okay. No, like 10 more minutes of that, and the whole thing would have been clogged out, or 3 more minutes, or whatever.
Or just a different method. Having a little bit more experience, possibly. Or I'm not going to talk down another company. I'm just going to say that.
Well, yeah, we're not naming them by names, but it's a matter of just being fair to the consumer to say, how often is it the case? And this is true in life in general. I've dealt with this many times myself, and I'm going to sound like, I don't care what I sound like. I'm going to tell you what happened. I was known at Anheuser-Busch. I did not get put into the design team because it said, Carter, the design is one thing, and you got to be very detailed and da-da-da, but nobody fixes problems like you do. And we cannot afford to have a system down where people cannot communicate within the company, email. And that's why we had to keep you in the operations group. And I just think that was a matter of stick-to-itiveness and a little bit of the way my brain works. My mom warns me, you're not good at much, Carter, but you're really good at this computer stuff. So my girlfriend reminds me of the same things. But that's all right. We'll have our niche. But how often is it the case that just a little more effort, a little more time, a little more energy, and the whole thing could have been resolved?
A lot.
Versus,
a lot of times.
Quit, forget about it, have somebody come in, wipe it out, start over.
Even come back the next day with you've got a different attitude.
Very true. All right, well, we're getting into some deep stuff here, but we like to talk about that because that is a lot of money at stake for a small house with somebody who doesn't have a big.
Right.
Maybe they've paid off that house by now, they own it, but they allowed it to be they're retired.
You're talking an 85-year-old woman.
Yeah, she's probably been retired. This is her. She's living off this money, and you're going to finance it to her, which is really just delaying the debt that they're going to put them in, and probably might cost more because it may not be interest-free.
And the company may own the finance company, and they make even more.
Yes, these are the things you should be informed about. That's why we bring experts in here. Lots of residential, some commercial. Tell me why and what and how and where that is and what you enjoy about both.
Well, commercial is, it's kind of crazy stuff sometimes. I've worked on a building down in East St. Louis that used to be the trolley barn,
right,
in the 1800s, and it's converted into a factory, or warehouse, and so the floor, I had to repair the floor there because the train tracks were coming through, and they couldn't run the forklifts around.
Okay.
So I mean, there's kind of a crazy different one.
Right. Yeah. So did they put flooring over the train tracks?
They asphalted over the train tracks.
Okay.
Because I mean, it actually had the turntable where the trolley would come in, and they'd spin around and go back up the other way.
Back to
Neat building.
Back to let's just find a quick, easy solution rather than doing this the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Led to a problem later.
Yep.
How is that the case? Many problems you can circumvent if you do it. Here we go, everybody. I'm putting it wide. Do it right the first time. Get pencil, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It saves you money and resources and time.
Saves you grief.
And grief. Nobody wants to be stressed about the work that they're doing too, on top of what it is that they have. Well, tell me a time, if you've got a number of experiences here, we might have talked about this a little bit, but give me a specific example, if you want, without naming names again, of a time when you really helped a client. You could see they were in a tough situation and you had to come through and say, hey, let me fix this for you.
So a customer was having a toilet put in, and it was being put in through one of the big box stores, and the contractor that they hired, he goes, I can't put this in because you don't have a shutoff valve. You're a plumber. Put in the shutoff valve. Oh, I can't do that. And so he left, and then another guy came, and he goes, oh, I can't do that. You don't have the proper flange on the floor. And so, naming a company, this was through Home Depot, and they called me, and they go, I know that you fix things with...
You could have Home Depot because they know you can fix it.
Can you fix this for us? Because this customer wants to kill us. And I go, yeah. So I went in and put in a shutoff valve, put in a new flange, charged the customer like $600, fair price, and they were like ecstatic, like, this is all we had to do, this was it. And I'm like, yeah. And you go, they were plumbers, why couldn't they do that? I don't know. I'm just,
well, there are some people that's back to that mentality of, hey, I just got to get my money, and if you're not going to do that, or I'm going to do the minimum because I'm paid by somebody else.
It's not on the work order.
And it's not on the work order, so yeah, I get to call back to the office, and I could probably take care of it. By the way, what does the flange taste like? Do you put salt or pepper on that? I don't even know what that is.
I wouldn't taste it. It's what holds the toilet down to the floor.
Okay, so is it that ring?
The ring is what seals the two.
Okay.
This is an actual hard piece.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Get the experts that can fix, and they know what a flange is, and can probably have an extra one in the truck, and could have fixed it right there on the spot. Let's just get things done.
Yeah.
We get caught up in our bureaucracy.
This is another example. This was really recent. So I don't install carpet. So the customer wanted carpet on their stairs. So we had them call the appropriate people to carpet the stairs. So wouldn't you think that when you were done with that, there would be a finished edge at the top of the stairs and a finished edge at the bottom of the stairs?
You would think. Like,
you would think
part
that.
of the job, isn't it?
Yeah, you would think that. The guy and the customer, she goes, they're not going to finish that. And I'm like, why not? And he goes, they said they don't do that. And I'm like, they installed it. Why do they do that? So this was a problem where she ordered it online, and the online person didn't know to say, what kind of trim would you like at the top and the bottom? So they didn't have it. So they said, oh, we don't do that.
They do it. They just didn't. It wasn't ordered again back.
Yeah, it wasn't ordered. Wasn't on the order.
I got to charge more for that. How are we going to figure?
It didn't matter. It wasn't on the order.
Wow. All right. Well, that's why you get a handyman that you can trust. That's going to come and say, hey, whatever it is. That's interesting. There's a lot of benefit there because as a handyman, you don't just have one area of specialty, and when that area is outside of your realm, sorry, can't help you. Hey, wait a minute. And then, of course, then like I said, carpeting that is a separate thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
If
you're
it's
not just
if
fixing
it's
it,
not
you're
my
installing something.
yeah,
But you know who to call.
I will take care of it for you.
Right. Recommend somebody to do that. Very important. Well, tell me that over time, obviously you've been doing this for a long time. How has technology changed? I know there's millions of examples you could probably give me.
Incredibly.
What are the things you would say most?
Just flooring. We've went from hard surfaces to now one of the biggest things is LVP, luxury vinyl plank. It's kind of the greatest thing since sliced bread. Wears like iron, goes right over your existing floor, and doesn't cost a lot, comparatively speaking. And your time where your house is tore up is minimal. Where it used to be, okay, you want ceramic floor, oh, that's going to be like 3 weeks that you don't have a living room or kitchen, and now it's days.
Okay.
You know, the same, and so many things have changed to where easier installation, user-friendly, and multi-purpose. Your different appliances. I mean, your sink faucets now are like you don't have the problem with the drain where you had the thing you pull up and that doesn't shut the drain. And now they just have pop drains, and there's so many things that make your life easier. You know, and it's just change it out rather than live with it. You know, I mean, well, that toilet's been running like that for 13 years. And it's like,
it's not a $600 repair. It's a matter of tweaking a couple hoses and
Yeah.
the valves, and then you've got it back placed into what costs $75, $100, $200,
yeah,
something like
exactly.
that. Not worth dealing with. And because there's also residual problems that are coming about from that lifetime water. Water's dripping, and the water causes problems all over the place.
You'd be amazed
bitty
how
maintenance
much
things
a
that people
dripping faucet costs you in real dollars in water.
Just in a water bill.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
Your water bill would normally be like $30 a month. It's $150, and you're like,
What?
really? But
A constant drip 24/7.
put a cup under there.
That's a good example. I'll explain this to my perspective there. I didn't realize, but I have a fountain in front of my house, and periodically I'm a do-it-yourselfer. I made this thing go, and it works pretty well.
Yeah.
But I have the rubberized finish on the inside of the pond area. It's this wide and this deep, and anyway, I've got a nice little lion because we are lions. Right?
I saw that. It's pretty neat. I liked it.
But as water goes down just a little bit, because I got a new pump. This is the problem. I got a new pump. It exerts a little more force, so it shoots a little further. And if it shoots far enough, it goes over the fountain and hits the vinyl or the rubberized finish. Then it splatters.
Oh yeah, splashes out.
So you can see the ring of wetness around there that it sprayed out. That's all that got sent out of the tub, out of the pond area. And so now every day, but by the time this thing holds, 300 gallons, probably more like 500 gallons.
Probably.
And by the end of a day of doing that, 500 gallons can be down to 75. It's enough for the fish to live in there.
It just keeps going.
I'm like, what? But that's what it'll do in one night. So I'm going, if you're flushing 300 gallons, and it was just, this is a little bit more of a spray thing that's doing, maybe it's a little faster than a drip, but if it was only a quarter of that, that's still, 75 gallons a day that you're flushing down the toilet. Not literally, but like literally.
Yeah, you are. Literally. It's running down there.
Actually down the toilet, but down your money's going down. Wow. Okay, these are little things that people just don't contemplate because it's an inconvenience, and it's just let me give you a little tip for life. Tell me if you've drew this one. You want to be successful, address issues immediately, take them on as they come in, not putting them off, and then life is a lot easier to manage. And I just constantly I'm fixing that now. I'm fixing that now. I might even be like, hold on, Tim, I have to fix this right now real quick because we got to get these things that will affect the overall.
Yeah.
And if you ever, but don't stay at that for a house in particular, because you're literally depleting the value of your house as this little crack over here and this little water thing over there and then this little thing with mold over here and the mold you got to cut. Now your house is
Yeah.
So, needing a lot of work.
You put it off, stuff compounds
Okay.
quite a bit. I mean, you get a little mold problem in the corner, and I'm not worried about that. And then a year from now it's in your walls,
That's bad.
and you have a real problem.
There are kills. I've seen this where we had a property where we had to go in and water just got in the walls by the water, by the river. And if you don't spray that stuff off with the kills or whatever it is that they use, it was 30 seconds. My neighbor said, hey, it's called 30 seconds. I guess it takes 30 seconds. It's got some chlorine in it, really.
Yeah.
And chlorine, you can smell it. Shh, spray that around. Good. That will dry with the chlorine based in there, and it takes away that mold buildup. But if you let that thing go for too long, then you got mold growing all over the place.
It grows. That's the whole thing. It grows.
All you need is a little water for that to happen. It's like the spores float in through the air. Is that how mold comes around?
Mm-hmm. Moisture.
How do the actual mold spores get there? I guess they're floating.
They're in the water.
They're in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Learning a lot here, everybody. So stay tuned for this because we got a few minutes left. All right. Tell me the process. Somebody says, Tim, obviously you know what you're doing. I want to hire you. Is it as simple as just going to the website? You got your phone number up there. You got a form on your website, and they can get a hold of you.
I like to be hands-on.
Okay.
I'm going to come to your house, inspect what you need done,
Right.
and give you my opinion on how you can fix it, how you can make it better,
Right.
what we need to do, give you your options. You can do this, you can do that, and say, okay, this is what I recommend. We'll do whatever you want, but this is what I recommend. Give them a price on that, and if it's like a remodel type thing, if it's not a right now thing, I go, you can talk it over with your spouse or with whoever you need to talk it over. Get back to me, let me know if you want to go forward. You want to go forward, we'll write up a contract, we'll get a down payment, we'll get you a date to start, and we're going to come to your house. When we start working on your house, we don't stop, we don't go to another house, we don't, we work on your job till it's done.
That's how you do things. So take a look at the website here. Lots of good information out here. But you can see Handyman Service Belleville, Illinois.com. That is available. You can see the information for that right there. And where Tim can make this easy for you. And I'll put the title up there that shows that link. But as a matter of just going to that drop-down menu, here it is. Basement Handyman, Carpentry, Concrete Resurfacing, Drywall Handyman, General Plumbing, Handyman Services, and then the Home Handyman. Give me a little bit more about what those particular services are so that people understand all of what you really do.
Well, a big overview is pretty much anything having to do with your home, yard, basement, crawl space, anything having to do with your home, I can take care of you.
Well,
I'm not crazy about doing carpets. I can't beat Home Depot's installation free. So we'll let them do it. And my knees are too old for roofs.
And you've had a few surgeries in your life
I've had some rebuilds.
some rebuilds for houses and rebuilds for his own knees, I think you talked about.
Mm-hmm.
We've all been through that. I got a torn meniscus on the inside knee, and I was a catcher. And so
That would do
I didn't
it.
catch all the time, but I was a good catcher. So you're the only guy that could catch this kid that throws 80 miles an hour when we were in the 7th grade. Right? I think it was 7th grade. Matt Schmitz, 8th grade. I forget. I had a puffy hand after that.
I'll bet.
But I would catch. The other guys, he said, couldn't do it. But hey, got to sacrifice for the team, and my knees took a little bit of the burden there. If you had to tell me, with regard to running a business, what is one big challenge you've had to overcome? Probably multiple challenges. I mean, life is full of those instances in our life. But as somebody who's running a handyman business, waking up every day, going out there and doing a good job, I guess one thing I would imagine is how many times people are told, oh, well, that can get done for this, and you can do this for that. And you have to explain to people, well, let me explain to you what's really going on here so you understand the whole process, because you can't just put a little Band-Aid on it. It's going to cause a bigger problem. Or what is the biggest challenge you deal with?
People thinking they can do things themselves, or, and my prime example is I had a guy come in and he goes, I need you to paint my living room, vaulted ceiling. And okay, that'll be $850. Oh, my neighbor said he can do it for $250. And I go, well, then I guess you could have your neighbor do it, but realize when your neighbor's on the ladder and he knocks the bucket of paint off onto your glass table here and busts it and goes, oh, well, sorry, I got to go, and you're stuck with this now, I'm insured. So I am going to take care of your house, and I'm probably not going to knock the bucket off onto your table in the first place. But you do what you need to do.
Well, I've seen the paint jobs where people did it themselves, and the colors don't match, and the trim doesn't get done, and they're cutting in, and you can see paint on the ceiling when it's supposed to, but it's the paint color that was on the wall, which is
So
different.
that particular customer decided to have the neighbor do it, and it happened exactly like I said.
And the paint fell down on the table, and oh my gosh!
And he called me to fix it.
And it costs a lot more after all that.
I go, yeah. Well, the prices went up exponentially because now we have to fix everything else.
Saving money, everybody. Cheap. We say this one a few times on this. Cheap gets very expensive. True. Write that one down. He was
Good, cheap, and fast.
He was being cheap and fast, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
But he wasn't really being good.
Well, a lot of people think, well, it's just paint. It's a whole lot more than that.
Yeah. Well, it's the prep. I mean, give us some of the details. Prep, primer sometimes, scraping everything, getting
you
out.
have to fix all the bad spots in the wall.
Yeah, and then, okay.
So it doesn't just look like somebody threw paint on the wall. It looks like a new finish. So that's what you're looking for is a new finish, not just brighter paint.
Very true.
So, I mean, you have to fix those things, prep everything, and, naturally do your trim out so it looks like a fine, clean, tight job.
Well, as we finish up here, we've got about a minute and a half, 2.5 hours, everybody. Tim really knows his stuff. If you want to learn about what you're dealing with when hiring a handyman, Tim is a master handyman, and he can help you. He can give you some advice, give you great tips. The more people you help, this also will come back and hopefully help you.
Yeah.
Because we'll see. He gave me some great ideas, but who can actually do it? He can. Give him a call. Phone number's up there, too, for you to see. But if you would, what is the biggest objection a lot of people have? And as you go back to that, I can do it myself, but when people say, I think I should hire you, Tim, but what are the questions that people normally have before they hire you?
Availability.
Okay.
And,
Makes sense.
I mean, if they don't know me, it's, how do I know you're going to actually do the job?
Right.
So, I mean, and it's like, I'm on your job. That's, what you see is what you get.
Right.
So, and I like to take time talking to people, not just about their work, but just life in general, different beliefs of how things should go, so that you can build a trust in me, and I can also build a trust in you that you're actually going to pay me.
These are the things that make the world go round, everybody. Get hold of Tim. He's an expert. Tim Schwartz, owner-operator, Handyman Services. If you look at what he does, he's a master handyman, and he can help you at your home or your business to make sure you do this anywhere in the St. Louis area, depending on what it is that you focus on Belleville, but if there's somebody needs help, it's that 30-minute drive or so.
Oh,
You're going
much
further than
further.
He'll take care
I
of you.
spent 2 weeks at Lake of the Ozark on a house.
Oh, wow. Stay tuned for more, everybody. Get up.